theory were thought to be extraordinarily difficult to comprehend. British astronomer Sir Arthur Eddington.
What's up, everybody? Week 6 coming at you live. Actually, it's not live, now that I think about it, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. One thing that I would say for this week is that I'm definitely fully into the goal of this year, which is getting bigger and stronger. And the reason I bring that up is that I found it somewhat difficult to let go of the previous goal, which I achieved fairly well, which was last year to get leaner. And after you put that much time and effort into something, it's tough to just immediately switch on a dime and say, okay, undo all that progress and do something different. But as you guys know, definitely quite happy to be pushing heavy weight, particularly on the bench press. And yeah, that's like a little mental block that I experience from time to time, and I imagine I'm not the only one. But that's okay, we got things rolling now. Something I've been thinking about though with this protocol of trying to push the weights / volume up week to week is eventually that is likely to stop occurring. And the question is, what do you do when that happens? I was thinking, for one, I have a particular rest period protocol that I follow. For my volume squats and benches, I normally take 2 minutes of rest in between sets. And on my overhead press and deadlifts, even on heavy deadlifts, believe it or not, I only take 1 minute. So the first idea that comes to mind, if I'm ever unable to complete the target workload, is to increase the amount of rest between sets, which would probably help to some degree. Next thing that comes to mind is maybe I just had a bad day, and it's really not that I'm unable, it's just that particular day I was unable to complete the work, and we can just try again the following week. And the last thing that comes to mind is that a missed volume / workload could indicate that it's time to increase calories, because you can almost think of calories as equivalent to recovery. But thus far, we're still doing good, because here we have 117.5 on the 3x5 OHP. That's a new PR for me, and that is good because I definitely think I have more in the tank. And as a side note, my strength OHP work, which I do on Saturdays and Tuesdays, just haven't been filming it. I'm up to 137.5 for my daily double and 127.5 for a total of 14 reps thus far. And on my strength OHP, I make sure I pause the bar in the bottom position before pushing it back up. And that is boding well for pushing my 3x5 OHP up to 135 eventually this year. One thing though that did come up at the end of this Sunday workout is that my low back was giving me a little bit of heat. So I decided to give it some extra back therapy, and this is how I spell relief. So we are monitoring that, of course, because the last thing you need is an injury, which means you ain't doing nothing. And I was looking at these Monday and Thursday workouts, which I basically consider my recovery days, keep the weights lighter and the reps higher. And I'm thinking these are a good place to add volume fairly quickly to my overall week, because as you guys probably know, adding reps definitely pushes your volume up faster than, say, adding weight. Because if you're doing, say, 150 for 10 reps, adding 5 pounds only adds 50 total pounds to your volume, but one more rep would add 150. So trying to push that up and see how that goes. And moving on to Tuesday, the bench day. Yeah. Something I changed up this week is that I'm now going to film the final set of my 3x5 work. And I think that's going to be a better indicator for you guys to see how I'm doing. Because when I was filming the first set in the previous weeks, yeah, that's basically just flying up, right? Thus, I think showing you guys the final set is a much better indicator of how I'm progressing on this. And switching topics here, I think I mentioned either last week or the week before that I'm thinking that I'm close to a deadlift rep PR. And since it's hump day, what better day to perhaps attempt that? I had 340 scheduled for 2 sets of 3, would have been my normal schedule. And when I looked at my PR table, I noticed that both 5 reps and 6 reps were below 340. And thus, I decided, let's go for all 6 reps in one set and see if we can pull it off. And as it turns out, we did. Yeah! Even with a brief pause after the 4th rep to reset the grip, no problem. Was able to get that for a new PR. The only downside, though, is that if you recall on Sunday, I mentioned my lower back was giving me a little heat. Well, I can say after this, it was furious. And it was actually fairly difficult to get through the rest of the workout without some decent pain in my low back, which is a bummer because I wasn't supposed to get injured, because that was like my main goal of this year and every year for that. And thus, Thursday's workout became somewhat problematic. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do just the best I can, keep making sure the pain does not get out of control. And that's basically what I did. And I found that I was able to do my squats as scheduled, no problem. And the only thing I really had to modify was my conventional deadlifts. Instead of doing 250 for sets and reps, I ended up doing 135 for 5 sets of 5. And I really think that movement is medicine, so I really think that that is better than resting it, believe it or not. And that's going to be the plan going forward. Do what I can until things get back to normal, and then we can resume our regularly scheduled programming. Yeah! And volume data for week 6 was pretty close to the expected number. It just had to take a slight decrease on the back work because of Thursday's deadlifts. And 2018 goals update screen. Oh no, no injuries. That gets a sad face for sure. However, we did break some PRs, so that's actually really good. And we passed 1 million pounds for the year, 1780 on the 12K chin-up challenge. And last but not least, the diet data screen. Another good week of counting calories, and the weight was up 3/4 of a pound, which is fine. And hopefully next week I'll have some better news for you. But whatever, I'll see you then regardless. Take care. Bye.